The Chinese banks have become very large, but you're talking about market capitalization more than anything else. Remember, most people in China still don't have a bank account, even though there are 1,300,000,000 people. They save and invest over 35% of their income. They work from dawn to dusk. So the future of Chinese banking is obviously very, very, very good. I can remember when the largest steel company in the world was in America. I can remember when the largest automobile company was in America. Then it moved to Japan. You're going to have the same kind of movement of industry and companies and commerce to China, so that many of those companies are going to become the largest in the world in the next 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, China has a very free economy. You know, I know business people say, I don't want to do business in Europe. I don't want to do business in Japan. It's very difficult. The bureaucracy and the regulations. I want to do business in China. I can do anything I want to in China. It's a much more open economy, much more successful economy. Most people would prefer to do business in China. As far as the central banks, I mean, the Chinese central bank knows that the world has a serious inflation problem right now. They're trying to do something about it. I'd rather have the Chinese central bank running my central bank than the Federal Reserve.
Smog und Abgase, verschmutzte Gewässer und tonnenweise Abfälle. China steht vor gewaltigen Umweltproblemen und hat damit sogar vielleicht beste Chancen, auch in Zukunft einen Teil seines ungeheuren Hungers nach Rohstoffen zu stillen.
There is horrible pollution in China. It's so bad, in fact, that I couldn't bring myself to live there as much as I'd like to. But you and I know that, and so do the Chinese. The Chinese, you see the middle class demonstrating all the time. Clean up our air, clean up our environment. And the government is now spending a lot of money. Somebody is going to make a huge amount of money. Western companies, as well as Chinese companies, are going to make a lot of money in the future cleaning up the mess that China's made. The problem is very serious. China's huge. There are 1,300,000,000 people. It's bigger than the geographic United States. It's a lot of mess to clean up, but it's going to be cleaned up.
Vor allem die Wasserversorgung wird im Reich der Mitte zum immer größeren Problem. Alle großen Flüsse sind vergiftet. Von den 27 großen Seen sind nur 2 nicht völlig verseucht.
As far as water, now water could be a major problem in China, but they know that, just like you and I know it, and they're spending hundreds of billions of dollars trying to deal with their water problem. Well, they're working on Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater lake in the world. 20% of the world's fresh water is in Lake Baikal, just to the north. Lake Baikal used to be part of China, by the way. Bai and Kal are 2 Chinese characters. So it used to be a Chinese lake. It probably will be again someday. There's a lot of water in Siberia. The Chinese are working on lots of solutions to the water problem. And if they don't solve it, it could be the end of the story.
Damit ist das Wasserproblem nur eines von vielen Möglichkeiten, in Chinas Infrastruktur zu investieren.
Infrastructure in China is a huge problem, but they're working on it. They're spending lots of money on roads, ports, airports. I mean, if you go to China, you will see the most astonishing airports in the world, even compared to European airports. They're spending a lot of money on their ports and everything else.
Kann man China angesichts dieser Entwicklungen überhaupt noch als Emerging Market bezeichnen?
The statistics show that China is still an emerging market. I mean, if you go to places like Shanghai, you don't think it's an emerging market or an emerging city. You've never seen anything quite like it. But many parts of China are still emerging, and that's why the story has so long to go. Some of the Chinese banks do have subprime loans that they bought from America. Nothing like the American banks. Some of the American banks are in some of the American banks, especially the investment banks, are in serious, serious trouble. You don't have those kind of problems in China. You may have other problems in China, but not those problems. And China is urbanizing. Many people are moving to the cities. Just as happened in Europe, just as happened in America, and that will continue for a while. The Olympics in 2008 are not going to have much effect, if you ask me. Remember, America had the Olympics in 1996. After the Olympics, nobody noticed, that the Olympics were over, except in the city where they were held. In 2000, Sydney had the Olympics in Australia. Australia's a tiny country with only 18, 20 million people at the time. Nobody noticed once the Olympics were over. Greece had them in 2004. Greece didn't fall apart after the Olympics. It didn't change that much, and it's not going to have that big of an effect in China. Yes, some people are moving to cities. Yes, there is urbanization. Yes, Beijing spent a lot of money on the Olympics, but 2009, not many people remember. Some parts of Chinese real estate certainly have been in a bubble. Already you're starting to see prices go down in some Chinese cities. All bubbles end badly, whether the government tries to stop it or not. I wouldn't be buying real estate in many parts of China right now.